evening, Washington, D.C. This is Lissy Boderman.
And Taylor Bridgens here to report tonight's news.
Our top news story is California's Proposition 8, banning same-sex marriage in the state of California. States have taken the matter of same-sex marriage into their own hands. 38 states with a ban on it, while only 9 states, plus D.C., legalized it. The states feel that this matter is left to them under the 10th Amendment as a reserve power, so it is their duty to regulate and make laws on same-sex marriage.
Meanwhile, since 1996, when President Bill Clinton signed the Federal Defense of Marriage Act, known as DOMA, into law, it declares that marriage is only between a man and a woman. The federal government has not done much to implement DOMA, as shown in the states who allow same-sex marriage. In the current California Supreme Court case, which has still not reached a consensus, if the court legalizes same-sex marriage, 38 states will be affected, and thus the court will be considered an activist court.
The subject of same-sex marriage is very controversial across the nation. Evidently, there are cross-cutting cleavages influencing one's stance on it. Unaffiliated citizens tend to favor same-sex marriage the most, with a 77% approval rate, while white mainline Protestants and Catholics in second with 55% and 48% approval ratings.
Typically, conservatives are more against same-sex marriage, while libertarians are more likely to be in favor of it. However, one time the public has become more open to the idea, thus putting same-sex marriage towards the top of the public policy agenda.
It was a little bit noisy outside, so we brought it in here. Thank you. As you can see, I am here in Washington, D.C. for this year's Pride celebration. I am here now with Skylar, a member of the Freedom to Marry Coalition. Can you tell us a little bit about your interest group?
Hello, yes, I would love to. This coalition is all about working to win the freedom to marry in more states, grow the national majority for marriage, and end federal marriage discrimination.
That is incredible. Can you talk about your views on the court case going on with California right now?
I feel really hopeful that they will want to make a change. Unfortunately, I have read that there is a lot of indication that the justices will dismiss the case.
What are your views on DOMA and other laws that prevent equal rights?
I believe that DOMA should be overturned, along with things such as Proposition 8, which overturned a Supreme Court ruling that same-sex marriages are allowed.
How are you going to achieve your goals to end discrimination against same-sex marriage?
Well, we would like to gain a large amount of support from people in the states to put pressure on Congress and persuade them to end discrimination.
I hope all works out. Are there any last words you would like to say?
I would just like to say that love is love, and everyone should have equal rights no matter who you are.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Thank you so much for your time. Now, to the opposite end of this parade. Jessica?
Mr. Brian S. Brown, current president of NOM, who last week his organization attended the Gay Pride Parade to view their views. How are you doing today, Mr. Brown?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
That's great. Now, can you explain to us what it is that your organization does?
As you mentioned before, I am a president of NOM. We are an American nonprofit organization established in 2007. We work against the legalization of same-sex marriage, which is why we are down at the parade. Last week, we worked with a number of state-based PACs that help us with the opposition of gay adoption and civil union legislation. In 2007, we worked specifically to pass California Proposition 8, which successfully passed to prohibit same-sex marriage in California.
Excellent. Now, what are your personal beliefs when it comes to same-sex marriage?
Well, I personally believe it's completely wrong. It harms the interests of children who deserve to be raised by two parents, men and women, in a healthy and loving relationship. We must protect our citizens' freedom of religion. We aren't protecting the right of religious groups that teach their members that homosexuality is immoral and that gay marriage is a validation of sinful relationship.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you for answering our questions and being here with us today. Now back to Taylor and Lissy down at the studio.
That wraps up tonight's news story. Stay classy, Uziang.
And thanks for stopping by.
But mainly, stay classy.